Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you like to hear someone talk about cats, rats, dogs, or reptiles, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. It's kind of what I'm here for. So I'm kind of just gonna jump right in. Sorry, I'm in my garage again. This is part 2 of the iguana build. There will be one more part after this to where I just show you guys it all done and everything. It's cold, I've been out here all night. It's late. It's day 10 of the iguana build. I will have to give my husband tons of props. He's done most of this. In this video, I'm not gonna have a breakdown of how much everything costs for you. I will leave that in the description of the video down below. Because it is important to know the cost of what animals are in reality. And a lot of people overlook that whenever they're researching. I don't talk about how much I spend on my animals as some weird flex. But I do like to mention it because I do think people need to realize how expensive even just an enclosure for an animal can be sometimes. Anyways, so where I left off last time was we pretty much just had the frame built. We had a lot of supplies and we had the frame built. We did go out and get some more supplies. And when I show you guys the enclosure in like 2.5 seconds, the doors are not going to be on there. They are cut, they do fit, they're just acrylic doors. But we still have to move it inside, which I'm definitely not filming that part. It's definitely not looking forward to that part, and it's not gonna be fun. This thing is 8 feet tall. Like, it's gonna be rough, okay? However, we did measure and make sure that if we lean it over, it will still fit through the doorway. So, barely. I'm a little nervous for that part, but we'll find out tomorrow. Anyways, so let's just go ahead and look at it now. I can give you guys the breakdown in the description down below of all the prices and stuff. I know I already said that. I'm doing like a checklist in my head. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm just gonna kind of do like this for a second and then I'll walk around to where you can maybe see the whole thing. So the background looks a little funky from far away. And I will tell you, we did do something a little funky with the background. Normally, whenever you're like doing an enclosure, you use expanding foam, you color it in silicone, and then you cover it in something like cocoa fiber, peat moss, like sphagnum moss and things like that. We did not do that. We kind of left it raw. We wanted more of we actually went and looked at like backsplash, like literal backsplash. There were some really pretty backsplashes that looked like stone. But the problem was we were afraid that it was gonna be way too heavy once we like grout a backsplash on there and everything. So we kind of nixed that idea. I ended up using expanding foam. I got rocks that you would like put in your garden. We used river rocks. What are those called? Lava rocks, maybe something like that. And then like the little white stones that a lot of people use in their gardens. We got those. I used expanding foam, kind of stuck them in there and everything. I really like how it looks up close. Like from here, this angle, it looks a little funky, but I also kind of like it. And we left the expanding foam exposed. A lot of people don't do that. You typically cover it. We left it exposed. We tried a couple of different things. We tried to like grout over it, like silicone, and then pour the powder grout. Ended up hating it, so we pulled that whole section up and started over. We tried going over it with silicone, like a colored silicone, ended up hating it, pulled that section up and started over. We tried a couple different things and we just weren't happy with them. So we ended up deciding that we had enough greenery to deck this thing out, because we've already got that too, that we were just gonna kind of leave it exposed. It didn't look horrible. I'm a little nervous that Zelda might get in there and tear it up with her claws and stuff, but I'm hoping that that doesn't happen and that hopefully she just leaves the background alone, because she'll have plenty of other things to do. Anyways, we have the dry block painted on everything. We've got all of the walls put on, like everything's done. We did end up building a ramp down the middle. There is a little platform right here for feeding. And then way up here, I'll show you in a second, there's another like little basking plant platform. We have a couple pieces of wood that we screwed in there that are like hardscape, I guess would technically be what they are. We're gonna have a set of doors here that slide back and forth, and then here that slide back and forth. For down here, the reason why we added doors down there too was so that we could easily change out her pool of water. And then there's a little window up here that doesn't open. I'll show you guys that in a second as well. We've got ventilation on the sides, ventilation up top. We have the lighting and stuff all purchased, but I'll show you guys that whenever I film it after it's all put together. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we really went to town. We had a gray dry lock that we painted everything in, and then I kind of just did like a white dry brush over the top of that, just to kind of tone down the gray. The gray was pretty bold of a gray, so I kind of wanted to tone it down a little bit. All the furniture in my home is white. It's very farmhousey. So I just decided to try and tone that down the best I could. On the inside, I do feel like it's a little sloppy, so it's okay, I get that. But again, I feel like all of the greenery is gonna kind of cover that. The front end of it, you know, I probably could have blended that a little bit better, but this is 10 days of working on this and we're pretty much done at this point. We're on a little bit of a time crunch and just ready to get it inside. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and then I'm gonna grab it and kind of like give you guys a little bit better of a view. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna start at the wheels. You can tell I got really sloppy with that dry brushing on the inside, especially on the bottom. And of course, everything's also sealed. So if it looks a little shiny, it's because it's still wet in there. And there's the window up at the top. And there we are. See, she's got a basking spot up there that we'll be able to watch her, or yeah, I guess see her from on that window if we're standing far enough back. So this is where like her little pool of water is gonna go. And then there's a branch right there. This is gonna be her little feeding ledge. And there's her little climbing area to get up to that perch up there. Another little, just, I don't know, I guess spot to hang out. And then the background, as you can see, it doesn't look horrible up close. I mean, it's gonna have to do, right? And like I said, we've got tons of vines and stuff that we're putting in here. And honestly, I kind of like the way it looks. It's a little geometric, funky, and I'm a fan of it. So here's some ventilation. Here's how we ended up doing that. And then it is a screen top. The humidifier for her, we're probably just gonna set it on the bottom next to the pool and kind of like send the cords up a little bit. And then the sides, I'm really just showing you guys this little ventilation thing that we got going on. Everything's been like siliconed in and placed together, tucked away. There's no sharp edges. But yeah, I'm like super proud of this. My husband did an amazing job because if we're being honest, he pretty much did this by himself. I came out and just hung out with him while he did it. So that is part 2 of the build. I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the video, I linked part 1 already, and there will be a part 3, and then that will be the final reveal of it all. And I'm sure I'll have an interesting story about how we got this massive enclosure inside.